So this is my cat. He wanted some attention. He wouldn't stop meowing, so I couldn't record. Chop. Okay. Alright, so let's do this. Genesis chapter 42, Joseph and his brothers. In this chapter we go back to Israel, who is still referred to as Jacob in the prose. He is currently in the land of Canaan. At the start of this chapter, he orders his sons to go to Egypt to buy grain for the famine. So the brothers went to Joseph, who sold the grain for Egypt, and bowed before him as they did in his original dream that set off this whole adventure and sparked their simmering jealousy in the first place. Joseph recognized his brothers, though they did not recognize him. And Joseph remembered the dreams as well. Joseph then accuses the brothers of being spies, sent to look at the undefended regions of Egypt. Something that wouldn't make sense if Joseph's position were as the literal ruler of the land, as the story implies in modern interpretation. They defend themselves, the brothers that is, defend themselves against this accusation by explaining that they are 12 sons of one man. The youngest of them is at home with their father, while the other missing brother is dead. For this, Joseph imprisons them for 3 days and demands that one of them fetch the youngest son as proof of their word. Then he changed his deal with them, saying that since he feared God, he would allow all but one to return home so long as they returned with the youngest son as proof of their words. And the brothers viewed this situation, this circumstance, as a punishment for their crimes against Joseph all those years ago. Yet they spoke all of this within Joseph's hearing. According to the story, they did so not knowing that it was Joseph, not knowing that this man who they thought of as an Egyptian spoke their language, as he used an interpreter and only spoke Egyptian with them. And though he wept privately, outwardly, he was stern and took Simeon and bound him before their eyes. Joseph then sent them away with more grain than they asked for, and with their money returned to them, unbeknownst to them. On the return home, when they discovered the money, they were not happy but fearful that they had stolen from Pharaoh and made an enemy of the grain official they had bowed before, whom had been so severe with them and untrusting of them. When they returned home, they told their father everything that had occurred in Egypt with them, and that in exchange for presenting the youngest son to the vizier, or the grain official, he would know they were honest men, and their brother would be returned, plus they would be allowed to trade in the land that the grain official, that the governor here, had sway over. But their father refused when he saw that all of them still had their money and more grain than they had asked for. He said that now Joseph and Simeon were lost to him because of their dishonest deeds, and he would not risk the life of his youngest son on such a journey, as the sorrow would be too much for him to bear. Yet Reuben declared that he would put his own sons' lives in the hands of his father if he let them take the boy as proof of their word. But for now, Jacob refused. Uncomfortably, for the modern reader, Joseph seems to put his brothers through milder forms of his own experiences in Egypt. This would seem like revenge to the modern Christian mind. This chapter sets the stage and path for reconciliation and reunification, two themes that will follow Israel and the Jews far into the future, even into current history as I am writing this and reading this and filming this. This chapter and filming right now. This chapter and the next are full of dramatic irony and poetic justice. As modern readers familiar with the tale and the necessity of the results, we lose some of the tension of the narrative, which is that much of the mercy that Joseph extends to his brothers is unexpected to the original audience, while much of his cruelty would be the end of the brothers in other stories with similar events, even in today's stories that are anti-hero stories about revenge.